Hello my friends, welcome back to another painting with Harold. I have on the easel today an 8x10 already covered in an even thin coat of liquid white. Painting an 8x10 today because this was a requested painting from a lady here in town, local. She wanted me to paint her a barn scene, and she wanted it to be kind of sunset or sunrise. She said it don't matter, which they're both basically the same colors. She just said she wanted some yellows and oranges in it, and she didn't want winter. She wanted it to be summer, spring, fall. She just didn't want snow. I'm going to try to do this video, but my birds for some reason are upset today. And if they get too loud, I won't post it. Like I said, I don't know what's wrong with them. The colors I'm going to use today, I already had out from a painting I did yesterday. And if I have to have anything else, I'll definitely announce it as we go along. But I have titanium white, phthalo blue, mountain mix, dark sienna, Prussian blue. They are loud. Van Dyke brown, sap green, cad yellow, yellow ochre, and Indian yellow. I don't have any bright red out right now. I think I will put just a little bit of, I'll go ahead and put a little bit of bright red out. And when I say a little bit, it's probably going to be about the size of an M&M, or maybe a Hershey's Kiss. No, it's going to be more of the M&M. And since this is such a small canvas, I'm not going to use the knife today. I'm going to use a bunch of small brushes I've got. So this should be an all brush painting. Shouldn't have to use the knife unless I have to do some scraping. But I'm going to start. This is now all of these brushes do not have what they are on them. So I'm going to say this is about a 1-inch flat. And I'm going to go right into, my first color is going to be Indian yellow. And a little white. And that should give us a pretty bright color. And let's see, I'll start her sky about right here. Just go in here like so. Something about like that, just to get it going. Then I will go into a little bit of the cad yellow right on the same brush. Now my cad yellow has a little green in it from yesterday, so I'm going to try to dance around that as best I can. But I'm going to come up from it just a little. Those colors really blended together a lot. I'm going to come into my yellow ochre next, and I will bring it up about like so. Then I'll pick up just a hair, just a tiny bit on the brush of the bright red, and I'll bring it around the bottom here, just real loosely, about like so. Now you can see what happened. That bright red touched that yellow and it got an orange glow to it a little, just a little. And then I'll pull it in from the side just a little. And I'll leave some yellow in it. Then I will go into a little bit of, on the same brush, I'm going to go into a little bit of the dark sienna. And it's still got the yellow ochre on it. And I'll come right up here. And since it's got that yellow ochre on it, it's just going to be a little darker than the yellow ochre that was already there, about like so. And then I'll clean that brush. And while that brush is cleaning, I will use a 1-inch, just normal 1-inch brush. And I will go straight into titanium white. And I'm just going to tap it straight on the brush. And if you can see, I've got it on the end of the brush out here. Just out on the end. And what I'm going to do is, I'm going to come in and touch this color. Just right in here like so. Just tap it in here. And then I'm going to, with the same corner, I'm going to keep it to the inside of the paint. And I'm going to go around it, keeping that paint inside the white that's already there that we just put on. In other words, I'm not going to use this half of the brush that don't have any paint on it. All I'm going to use, and I'm going to go pick up a little more, and all I'm going to use is that inside here, because I don't want it to pick up any of my other colors right now. Just that little bit of yellow that's there. So I'm going to keep that paint to the inside. Like so. Then I will take me a paper towel and knock all this color off. Now blending is going to be from the middle, right in here, out. And once you go to blending out, don't go back into your white again. Just blend your darker colors, and then move away from your light spot. Just try real hard not to go back in that light spot. Because if you do, you will kill it. Now, I will take my finger and put just a tiny amount, about a tic tac, on my finger, and I will come right up here and just make me a round circle. Probably about the size of a quarter. And I will take my knife. Let's get the big knife. Now I'm going to set that knife flat on my canvas and real fast, like zip. Just zip right through it. And that took off all the paint we need to take off. Then I can wash this 1-inch brush. Not that it's real dirty right now, but it'd be a little too dirty to do what we're fixing to do. Or to save time in the video, I could just take another one, and all I'm gonna do is just very softly just set that sun right down into the painting. Just real soft. Because this guy's gonna be kind of soft. It don't need to be just terrible. All right, we'll save that brush. Then I'm gonna pick up a filbert brush, and this is a number 2 filbert, and it was designed by a guy named David Brancato, and he is on Facebook. I don't know how many brushes he's got in his line right now, but I know he's got 2, at least 2, and both of them are, they're just awesome brushes. One of them is a round, and of course the filbert. All right, to to do my clouds today, I'm just going to load this thing up with a little white. And I'm going to come up here and I'm just going to make a few little small circles. Now, you may have to go into that white several times to get the effect you want, because it's going to try to mix with this yellow. And I'm not going to thin it down. I want it thick. So if I had to use a little more paint, then that's what I'll do, because I definitely don't want to thin it down. But what I am going to do is, the further I go up and it goes to picking up that yellow, I'm not going to fight it. I'm going to let it do it. But I am going to keep me a paper towel here so I can keep knocking some of this color out. Just rubbing it gently across the paper towel so I can go back to the white when I need to. And I want this to be very bright on the bottom, because that light's hitting it pretty direct right there. So if I had to just take the white and just dab it on in places, I will, because I definitely want it to stay bright. Now what I'll do to ensure that it's good and bright is, I'll pick up just a tad bit of that color that we used, the Indian yellow and white together, and I'll come up here and just tap this outer edge, like right along in a couple places, just to give it a glow, because we're going to have to blend this out here in a second. And then over here to the side under this, I'll come in here and make a few small circles. And I'm trying to stay kind of in the red, because if I stay in that red, it'll show up better. About like so. And this has got a little white in it. So what we're going to do is, I'm going to wipe the brush out a little more. Then I'm going to come in there with my white and just liven up the top, so it's good and bright. We want it good and bright across here, just like so. Just drawing in a little cloud, about like so. Then I'll pick up a little bit more. And then out here to the side, I'll come in with another little cloud. Just got a little stringier off of it. Bring it in like so. Just keep the brush moving, making little circles. That's all we're doing. Just making little circles. Just like so. And I'll do one more right out here. And we'll run him all the way off the canvas, just like so. Now, when you build in yours, you put your clouds wherever you want them. They do not have to be just like mine. I just put mine at where I think they would be a little cloud. Just a little fluffy cloud out there, doing his own thing. Come back on this outside edge here, because I want this one, I really want it, I want it glowing, because that sun's shining right on it. And it's shining right on this, so I need it glowing. Ooh, okay, now we got another little cloud in there. A little floater. That was a happy accident. All right, just like so. Then we'll make sure that the top up here has got a good crown of white on it, because we want this, we want it to look like the sun's hitting it. About like so. That's all we need. Then we'll get ready to wash that brush. Oh, I got one thing I forgot to mention. Probably the most important part of this painting is a cup of coffee. Alright, now, to blend these clouds and not kill them, I'm going to just come right in here, just barely come in here, and just barely, I mean, barely touch the canvas, just barely. Just, I'm doing good if I move any paint at all right here. Really, I mean, that's how gentle I'm being right here. And then I'm going to come across very lightly. I can't even describe how lightly that is. The only reason I know I'm touching it is because I see the paint moving a little. Just like so. Then I'll do the same right here. And that is all I'm touching right there. Okay, I know that anything that's going to be down here is going to end up being a dark color. So, I don't think I'm going to put water in it. She didn't mention water. So, let's see. I don't think it needs to be mountain mixtures dark. I really don't think it needs a mountain in it. Well, let's put a little small mountain in it. We could do a little small mountain and still get away with a barn scene, I think. Well, let's just see. We'll see what happens. Maybe she won't get upset about it. Alright, I'm going to pick up my filbert again. And I'm going to come up here into my mountain mix color. Because I really think this color was going to show a lot of contrast on this sky that we got. And since this cloud's up in the air a little, I'll come in here and just start building a little mountain ridge. I don't think we need a lot of mountain in here. We'll just have us a little ridge of mountains. About like so. I don't think we really need more than that. Plus, if we can get away with it, we'll make it look like it's far away. I'm going to rub a good bit of this paint off. Because just like big mountain paintings, you got to come in here and you still have to pull this color down. That's one step you can't ever seem to get away from. It has to be done. Alright, come in here and pull this color down. And just give us some extra little peaks as we go along. And the reason I'm doing this, the only reason I'm doing this, is because I'm picking up a good bit of paint up here in the top edge. So I'm just going to move that paint around so it don't create problems for us. I don't know how many people will actually see this video. I am starting to get a few more subscribers and a few returning people. Starting to get a few more comments. And I know that growing this channel is going to take time. I mean, I know that. But I do have a question. I've been thinking. And I'd like to get some feedback from you guys if y'all can find time to comment on it and give me an answer. I've been thinking about doing a live painting where if you have any questions at all, you can ask them right then. I've got a TV set up over here in my studio, and I think what I can do is I can set up, I think this will work, I don't really know, I'm going to ask tomorrow when my man gets here, but I think I can set it up to go live and monitor it over here on my TV, and if a question comes up that I can read, I can just answer it rather than having to type an answer. I've never done a live. I don't really know all the ins and outs of it. That is one of the things I'm going to be asking about tomorrow. I don't know his knowledge on it, but the first thing I want to make sure before I go and do a lot of research on it is that y'all would want to see a live. Because there's no reason for me to do one if y'all don't want to see it. Alright, we'll put that little mountain range in like that. That's about all we need. I'm going to take a sip of my coffee. Alright, now I'm going to go into the next little brush here is it's a round, they call it a 0. Okay. And I will go into my white, and it's got a little of the yellow in it. And I'll pick up just a small amount, just a tiny amount. I don't even know if you can see that, I believe you can. And I'll come in here and I'll start, not like I usually do over here. This time, since I'm using a brush, I'm going to start at the very top peak. And I'm going to touch it. I'm going to get it good and white up here before my brush gets contaminated. But since it's sticking up so high, I won't. And then I'm going to go to the next tip. And I'm going to touch it. I want to get all these tips on the sun side. I want to go ahead and get the tips bright on the sun side. That's what I'm going to work on first. I just want the tips bright. And the reason I started up there is just comfortable, you know, to work down rather than trying to work back. For left-handed people, I'm sure it's easier to go the other way. Because I got to tell you, I admire left-handed painters. Because they trying to do everything that we do, right-handed people. Especially if you follow the tutorial and that teacher or that instructor is right-handed. You're trying to do it that way. And I can imagine how tough that is. So if you're left-handed, you may just want to flip everything and put your sun over here, and however's best for you. Because I know that's got to get kind of frustrating. Alright, now all of the tips are pretty white, so we'll just start tapping some color down at an angle down our mountain here. We don't want to pull a lot down, just a little to start with. And I'll show you how I'm doing that. I'm just touching that color and just pulling it down, just very lightly. Just trying to keep that outside line white and staying out of the main part, so we don't contaminate it with the mountain color like that. See how I just did that? So now I got to pick up some white and fix it, which means my mountain just grew. Sat here and just said why we don't want to do it, and did it anyway. Alright. Then we'll come over here, bring that on around. We'll bring that on around. And we'll keep this little line of white going because that's pretty much directly in the sunlight here. Just like so. So I'll show you how we're gonna do this when we get to our shadow. And just like that. Alright, now we got us a pretty good line across there. I said I wasn't going to use a knife, but I am, to mix color with. Alright, I'm going to take a little bit of titanium white and a little bit of phthalo blue. Alright, let me show you. I picked up about that much blue, but it's flat. So it started out probably about like a Tic Tac, and I just smushed it. So when I bring it into the white, it kind of marbles up. Because I don't want a real strong blue by itself, and I don't want a real strong white by itself. Because using these little brushes, now I have the option of going in touching a little dark, or I have the option of touching a little of the light color, either one. So to start out, I can come in here and touch a little of the darker color and come up to my points here to the peak and pull this color down just like so. And with the brush, you got a little more control than you do with the knife. The only thing is you got to keep in mind, with a brush you can't make the paint break. You have to do it. You have to make the paint break. So, but now that's not hard to do. But we're not gonna let something like that worse. Not right now. I really shouldn't even said that, because I don't want to scare anybody. Because this is just a process that it'll work. You'll see what I'm saying. It's actually, I think it's better doing it this way, because you can make a mountain look so, alright, you can make a mountain look so real doing this. Alright, now I'm gonna pick up, I'm gonna lay this one down, and then I'm gonna pick up another round that is a number 4, and I'm going to take some more white on it, and I'm going to come right up here at the bottom of that shadow color we just made, and I'm gonna put in a little white right there, and I will come down to right here. I'll put in a little white, and right here I'll put in a little white, and I'm just pulling these little whites down at an angle, and you'll see why in just a second. And you can go back up here and touch all of your white up here if you need to. Just don't let it kill your other color. All right. Now watch what this does. This is this is the part I like right here. We're gonna go back and put a little bit of shadow color on our brush, and we're gonna come under this peak at an angle. We'll just dab some on up here till we get some of it off the brush to where it's at least manageable. We'll come right off this peak. Just like so. And that created its own little peak right there. We'll come up here and pull some of this color down. Then we'll do this color. Just got to keep these angles. Don't forget to keep your angles, because the angles are really important right now. Then we'll just lightly pull the rest of this blue on out. Just keep in mind, keep them angles. Just like so. And just pull it all the way out. Just like so. Alright, see how many peaks that created inside that little mountain? And then to make it look more realistic now, we'll come in and pick us up a little more white, and on this one we'll extend it. We'll come right in here with this white, and we'll just extend it on down some, just like so, to make it look more like a little peak. Then we'll sneak back in here and pick this color up and bring it on down, just like so. I'll tell you what, we'll even extend this one just a little. Not much, but just a little. And this one as well. Just a little. But just like that, you've got, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 little peaks in that one area right there. And all we did was we just made ourselves a high spot with the highlight and came in with our shadow color, just like this, and come in with the angle. It's got to be the right angle. And just pull down behind the highlight. That's all you got to do. Just pull down right behind it. And when you do that, that's created another whole little dimension in this painting. If you get to a spot like this, that it just looks like, oh my goodness, it's ending off and ain't doing nothing out here. Well, come back in here with your white and just pull you down a little ridge, about like so. Just as long as it's white, That's all that matters. It's going to have to be a little white ridge in here. That's all it is. Then you get your shadow color and you come under that ridge and you just pull it down. And you can make it a little darker since it's getting closer to you if you want to. Like you can pick up actual phthalo blue and come in and add some darker phthalo blue and work it in just to make it look more realistic. Just like so. But what that did was it just pretty much put this little mountain ridge right here that we're working on, it put it in front of another one that we're going to make up here. That's all it did. And while you're doing that, if your white tries to get away from you, just pick you up a little more on the brush and just very lightly come down the same little ridge line and just put the white back in. That's all you got to do. Just like so. And then come back up at the angle and pull the rest of your blue down. Just like so. That's all you got to do. And that gave us another little ridge. I think it would look better if it had a real bright tip right up here. Just like so. We'll go brighten him up a little bit. Because I really think the tips being real bright, I think it helps the effect. To make it look like that sunlight's just zinging across there. Alright, on this one we'll come in here and we'll pull him down. We'll pull him down to about right here. About like so. And we'll pick us up a little shadow color. And on him we'll come in here and pull it down. Like that. And we'll bring it over under this little ridge. About like so. Now we already got another little ridge right there. So what we'll do on it is we'll come up here and we'll start working on this one. Just like that. We'll start pulling it down a little bit. That's all you got to do. Is just keep a close watch on your angles. All right. I don't know if you can see this or not, but there's a little ridge coming down, and we're gonna make it stick out. We're gonna make it more prominent, and that way it'll give our mountain a little more shape right here. It'll make it look more realistic, having that little ridge coming down. And then by putting a little more white in here like this, just a little. It don't take a lot for that effect. You can see it now how it just stands up there for you. All right. Then we will go back into our shadow color, and we'll pull some out here. we won't get too carried away with making too many more high spots. Just a couple along the way. We'll pick this one up from right here, and we'll make one out of it, just like so. We'll run this color on down. I mean, you have to have them, or else it's going to look, your mountain's just not going to look like a mountain. Just like that, we'll come in here and we'll start working on this little ridge. Then you just look at where do you think you need more highlight at on that one we just made. And it's pretty easy to tell. You've got to have highlights up here on the peak. You always got to have them on the peak. And you got to have some down this side, like so. And then you want that little ridge, you want it defined. That looks like it runs down the whole length of the mountain range here. Just like so. I hope y'all can see what's happening here. It's just putting a highlight and then coming back and putting a shadow under it to just to create a different angle. That's all we're doing. Because mountains are just angles. Then you can come up and add a little more shadow color. Just like that. We have another complete little ridge with basically a whole new peak on its own. Alright, now we're going to go back into our white or our other brush. We'll come up here and we'll clean this side up. Because this side is pretty close to the sun. But now we know we're going to have another peak over here. So we can go ahead and create it right now. Let's do it from, okay, since this is our peak, we'll bring it in here and we'll raise it up about like so. And we'll pull it back down and just let it run on off about like that. Then we'll go back and pick up our shadow. And we'll bring this shadow color in kind of at an angle to kind of cut that off a little bit. And this will give it a kind of a sunk in look. Like this little peak's just kind of doing its own thing right there. And then just kind of blend it all together. And it'll look like a little ridge running down through there. We may have to add a little more white for it to stand out, but just by adding this little white over here on the tip of it, over here, we'll make it look like a little ridge running between the two mountains. Just barely putting in some color, like where the sunlight's just hitting here and there. And by joining all that together, it just looks like a little ridge ran down and the little section beside it just created a little crevice in here. Almost looks like you could walk through it. Almost. Which I guess if you're a mountain climber, you'd probably appreciate a crevice like that. That is one thing I'm not. I don't want to try to climb no mountain. Alright. Now we got us a little flat spot here. So what we can do now is we can kind of make this look like a glacier, I guess, by keeping it at the right angle and putting just little brighter highlights in it here and there by pulling it down at the same direction. You just want it brighter in a lot of places because our sun now is shining straight down and it'll go back that way. So if you're going to have any bright spots now, they're all going to be on this side. Does that make sense? I hope so. And the only shadows you'll have in here now is any shadow that you want to make somewhere. So you bring that down about like that. All right, then I'll knock some of the white off this brush. And I will pick up a little bit of the blue and white does shadow color. Now let me show you over here. If you're going to make your shadow on this side, you just pull it basically the same direction. That we've been pulling. About like that. There's probably going to be a tree over here anyway to cover that up, so it's not really going to be real important. But up here on some of these spots, you can just drag in some shadow color behind some of your white, and all that'll do is give you a couple of shadows here and there to add a little life. That's basically all they're going to do. Just like so. Then we'll come across the bottom here and just pull all these out, clean them all up. Because we're going to have to go in here and tap our color out anyway. Just like that. Now, depending on how technical you really want to get, you could take that brush and you could go back into the mountain color, the one that's got the white on it, the 4-inch round we were using, and you can come over here where the shadow is and just touch in a couple little spots, a little darker. And like I said, this is just depending on how technical you want to get with it. But you can add this darker color in here and it'll give the effect that it's moving away from the sun a little further. And you can do it over here on this side. You know, in a couple of different places, just come in here and make you a little shadow mark. Just don't get carried away and make nothing major looking, you know. Just come in there and touch it just in a couple of small places. Just little subtle touches, and it'll give that effect of shadow, not hitting everywhere, but just that little darker color just brings out contrast in it. And I think it looks good in a painting. See, I got a little too carried away right there. So I'm gonna fix that in a second. I didn't have enough paint off my brush before I did that. I'll come right in here. Alright, and I'll fix that one. Well, about like that's all you need to do. I know you're saying, do what? Because that looks like crap right there, but to fix it, all you got to do is just come back up with a clean brush and just work it in here and there. And just let it fade on out. We haven't done nothing we can't fix. Anywhere you think is a little too dark, just go in there and pull over it a little. And to me, it just adds a whole different effect to your mountain. Like right there, it's a little more than I wanna see. So I'm gonna take a little white and pull down like that's the last of the sunlight right there. That's the last of it. The rest of it's going out in shadow. Now, to finish off the mountain, I'm gonna come back with a little bit of clean, just solid white by itself, and I'm going to touch the top of my peaks. That's all I want to do, because I want these peaks to be, I want them just out there glowing in the sunlight. Every one of them. Just like that. Because if this effect works, hopefully it'll pull your eye from any little mistakes we may have made. No, I'm sorry. Any little happy accidents we may have made. Sorry, Bob. Not like so. And I'm going to say that's a done mountain range. Alright. Wow, at the little brushes I've got over here already messed up. Alright, I'm going to take my 1-inch brush and I'm going to come in here and just lightly tap out the bottom. And this is so much harder to do when you got such a small canvas. But all you got to do is just be careful with them. I mean, you don't have to get crazy, or I mean, you can even come back and just touch a little white on your 1-inch brush if you need to. Whatever you got to do to get this misty look. And diffuse the bottom of your mountain range. You want it to be soft on the bottom. You want it looking like it's sitting in mist. That's all you want. About like so. And then just gently rub it in. And then come up following the same. Don't do what I just did right there. Don't pull up too far. Just barely lift it up in the same angle as your mountain. And then come in here and brush it out. Okay, how are we going to get that little mark off that we just made? Well, I'll show you. We're going to pick up a little soft blender, a little zero round, just something real soft. And we're just going to pull it across, just like so. And we will make it look like a little shiny cloud hiding back there, just like that. Just one little shiny cloud left. Now you can see it, the peaks that mountain range has got in it. It's loaded with mountain ranges, mountain peaks. Alright, we'll have to come across here and create us a little tree line. I don't know if I want to do pines or not. Evergreens. She did say she wanted some green. Alright. Says she wants some purple too, so let's do this. That midnight black has a little purple in it. So I'm going to go straight through. I'm going to go straight through the midnight black that I had left. And I am going to come across here with some little tappy trees. I want to come down below my mist. And I'm just tapping. Just being real careful not to make them all the same height. We want some smaller and some shorter and some taller. But we got to keep in mind that these are not going to have a reflection on them. So I'll show you what that means here in just a second. What we got to keep in mind, since it's not going to have shadow under it. Can you see what I'm doing there? I hope so. I'm coming in with the tip of that fan brush and just touching and pulling down. Just touching and pulling down. Like I said, there'll be a tree over here and there'll be a tree over here, so that's two areas we really don't have to worry about. I love the contrast that shows. That dark against the light right there with that little bit of mist behind it. Especially since that mist took on that kind of yellow tone. That really worked out kind of pretty to me. Alright, then we'll take our 1-inch brush that we had over here in the thinner. And I'm going to go ahead and wash it. Won't take but a second to wash it. We'll beat the devil out of it. Alright, since this is kind of early in the morning and the sun's just up high enough to start burning off the dew and getting some of that overnight moisture out, we will come right into a little of the white. About that much on the brush, all you need. And we'll drag it across the bottom just like that. And then we're going to come up here and start tapping. And the reason we put that white on there is we want that white to be mist for us. Because we have yet to put a dark color in down here. We haven't done that yet. But we're going to. I promise you. Alright, just like that, we tap all the way across the bottom. Get that knocked out pretty good. Then we'll come in here and pull up lightly through our trees. And that'll pull a tip on some of them. And it'll also pull a little of that white in between them and give us a separator color in there to make it look like there's space in between the thousands of trees we just built. Just like that. Oh, what dark color to use? I think we could get away with dark sienna. I'll tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna use Prussian blue. I'm gonna tap my brush right into Prussian blue and just a little bit of dark sienna and brush mix them. And that should get us close to a black or a blackish blue. And I'm going to come in here. Now we know we got to put a barn in. So if we want the barn far off, or do we want the barn somewhere else, we basically don't know yet. I don't. So what I'll do is I'll come across here and leave a little of the mist, and I'll just tap on a lay of the land across here. Just like so. Now I do know that's a dark color. I do know that. But we don't want to leave a lot of the mist. We just want enough that we can tell it's way off in the distance back there. We just want to come back up here and tap. Just tap this color in. Just like so. Just tap it in. Now Bob used to say you could put this color in with a boot and it wouldn't matter. But the only reason I'm tapping is I want the texture. I'm not doing it to keep the camera rolling longer, believe me. I'm just creating that texture that you get from tapping. And that's all I'm doing is just straight tapping. I'm not doing anything fancy here. The only thing I'm doing is preventing pulling my brush, letting my brush fall down or something. I don't want that. I just want my brush, tapping and coming right back off that canvas. That's all I want it to do. Because if you let it streak, that's exactly what it's going to do. It's going to streak. And some people like a streaker though. Oh, I'm going to keep it child friendly here. Just like that. Just come up here and touch. Just work that out, let it get soft up here. That's about all we need. About like that. Alright, now we will pick us up. I'm going to say this is probably something y'all hadn't seen me do yet. So we're gonna go ahead and do it. I do not do this very often. About the only time I do it is when it's a painting that I'm painting for somebody, because it is kind of time consuming. I mean, it's not terrible, but it's a little different than doing them any other kind of way, and that's making pines. And I'll show you what I mean here in just a second. Making these evergreens this way. Alright, that's the wrong one. Where's my brush? Where's my brush? I don't see my brush. I guess it is pretty time consuming when you lose brushes. I guess I cleaned it and put it up a while ago. I didn't even realize that. There it is. Alright, I'm going to put just a little bit of thinner on this round brush I was using. That one what we did the little highlights with. And I'm going to come into some Van Dyke Brown, just a little. Enough to get the color on my brush. And I'm going to come right up here in the clouds, right above the mountain here. And I'm going to pull straight down with this color. Straight down. And I can see where it picked up a little of the white. I can go back and get some more brown. And I'm just going to pull it down into my grassy area here a little bit. Just like so. Then I'll lay it to the side. Then I'm going to pick up that little filbert brush. A little small one that I had. And I'm going to take it and I'm going to go right into a little of the sap green. And when I say little, I mean probably about an M&M. And then I'm going to go into a little Prussian blue. And I'm going to brush mix these two colors together. And they're probably by equal parts of the blue, the Prussian blue, and the green together. And then I'm tapping that brush, getting the color on it. Alright. May need a little more blue here. Alright. Then I'm going to come up with this filbert brush and I'm going to touch this tree right here. Just like so. And I'm telling you, I usually don't make evergreens this way. But it is such a good technique for evergreens. Especially if you trying to sell a painting. It really makes them look, to me it makes them just look better. Because that filbert's already kind of shaped like it. You can come down at different angles. Now you really don't see a whole lot of difference in this until you start highlighting. As far as the actual shape of it right there, it's not much different than doing it with a fan brush. But when you go to highlighting with it, we're going to pick up a little smaller one. And it is a number 2. And we're going to go into our sap green, our cad yellow, just a little. Mix them right on the brush. Get us a color here. And we're going to come right back up and touch. I'll tell you what, before we do that, let's pick up our script liner and run it through a little bit of this brown, just dark sienna. And we'll run it right down the tree line here to get us an indication of a little trunk here and there. Nope, and don't take much, just here and there. Alright, now, let's come back up here and just start tapping. Start tapping in the color. And to me, doing it with these little filbert brushes gives you the chance to create more body to the tree. Like you can give it like you got more actual needles coming off your tree, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And then the further you go down the tree, of course, the darker you're going to get. About like so. That's about it. Like that right there. And we didn't kill all our dark. We can put just a little bit more light color in here to give this a little more life at the bottom. Because that sun could reach it just a little bit in places. Probably not many, but just enough to let it zing out there a little bit. We ain't got to make it stand out everywhere, but we can give him a little life. Like right in here. About like so. Alright, now. We're going to pick up our filbert brush, our script liner brush again. And this time I'm going to go straight into Van Dyke Brown. By itself, the only color. Make sure we get it thinned down, make sure we got plenty of color on our brush here. And then after I do this, I'm going to make us like a realistic type tree over here. I'm going to come up and just pull in a couple limbs out here. That's about all it'll take for this for this tree to be effective, because it's not it's not going to be the main focal point of our painting. But since we put it in here, we gotta take care of it. Just like so. And give them a couple dead limbs off the bottom like that. Maybe one on this side. Some new growth. About like that. That's all we need. Okay, I've got to stop the video for a minute and go see what's going on upstairs. My wife just sent me a message and said please come upstairs. So, alright, I'll be right back.